I just finished the groundwork for a feature which I haven't said much at all about until now, which is the debugger built into the script editor of RF2. To showcase it, I have created a script which is pretty simple. What it does is it prints a list of items and then prints the number of items that are in that list. As we can see, computer, lamp, CD, coffee, that's 4 items, but it prints 5. Why does it do that? Well, we can use the debugger to help find out. I don't know how many of you are familiar with programming, but in programming, a breakpoint is kind of a marker you place on a line of code which says, stop the program's execution right before it executes this line of code, and then wait for a command. So in this case, we're going to place a breakpoint here, and we're going to go into this loop and follow it, and we're going to see what this loop does actually is it takes in the items, and it says for each item in the items, add 1 to the item count, and then return the item count. So, if you have, say, a list containing 2 items, computer and lamp, for item in items, for the computer item, add 1 to the count. For the lamp item, add 1 to the count, thus returning 2 and printing number of items 2. But why is it printing 5? Is it somehow adding an extra item onto the end of the list and then thus returning 5 because there are 5 items in the list? Is it just... We don't know exactly what it's doing, supposedly. So what we're going to do is follow the execution into the loop and see how many times this line is executed. If it's executed more than 4 times, we know that's the problem and there's something going on up here. If not, we have to look elsewhere, so let's debug it. We press debug, and RF2 opens, but the script editor brings itself to the front to let us know that something's going on, and it has stopped on that breakpoint that we set, and we can tell that because there's an arrow to the left of that line, and the line has a blue background. So now we just step through the code, and we can see, let's see, it's been executed once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, only 4 times, so that worked. So now we can stop RF2. The problem isn't there, so where is the problem? Well, let's see what item count is by the time it gets down to there. So we can remove a breakpoint by clicking, just like we added one. And we run it until we get to there, and item count, we can tell by mousing over, is currently set to 5. How did it get to 5? Well, let's see. We created it at 1, then we added 1 to it 4 times. What we were supposed to do is create it at 0. We change that to 0, rerun RF2, and then mouse over item count and we see that it's 4. Everything works now. Beyond that extremely simple and easy to solve example, we have a more practical example. I'm going to get rid of the project view so we can have more room to see RF2 in the background now. And so what we're doing here is we're basically creating a scene in RF2, a 3D scene, and then we're adding a bunch of things, removing or changing the position of a bunch of things, changing the scale, etc. So what we can do is we can add a breakpoint to the very beginning, and we can start stepping through the code and we can watch what RF2 is doing. We can actually watch the scene being constructed because the renderer is still running even though the script is suspended. So what we do is we can simply press step, and we can again watch the value of the variables. I is currently at 10, D is at 11, D just got 2 added to it, so it's now at 13. We can even see what self is, what location it's at in memory, and what it is. It's a bootstrap.scene instance. So we can step through the code. We're creating a camera, setting its position, creating a logo actor, setting its scale. We're calling another function which does nothing. We're creating a light, and then we're positioning the light right in front of the logo. And as we can see, the logo is now lit up. And now we are placing it further and further away from the logo. The logo is getting dimmer. And now we are placing it quite close again. And we're setting the range so it's very low, so very dim. and setting it very high so it's very bright. We're changing the second texture channel to a normal map, and we are setting the material type to normal map. We get a normal mapping, and we're setting the scale of the logo so it's really scrunched. We're setting the scale the appropriate amount in the other direction, and now we can just click resume and RF2 will continue running, and it'll go through the whole start rotating thing. So that's how it works. There are some features that I still would like to add, but mainly that's pretty much it, and that's the basics of a debugger. I also added find functionality, which is of course pretty simple. You just type a term and you just press enter to cycle through the results. So that's it.